दोस्तों हम लोग बात करेंगे वी विल टॉक अबाउट इकोनॉमिक एनवायरनमेंट. वन ऑफ द मोस्ट important pillars of economic environment is the central bank, which in our Indian case is Reserve Bank of India. Now Reserve Bank of India periodically comes up with monetary policy announcements. These are very important for anyone who wants to become an entrepreneur or who is an entrepreneur, because monetary policy decides the rate of interest. It's so important. If you want to become an entrepreneur, what are the two most important things for you? One is easy finance, and second is your ability to innovate and collaborate. So if you are good in innovation, you are good in collaboration, doesn't matter. If you are not able to get finance, then it's so difficult. Look at the Indian financial system. Generally, entrepreneurs complain that they keep on visiting banks, keep on visiting financial institutions, but their loans are not sanctioned in time. This is a general complaint I am talking about. Now, this is because banks also have very tight policies. Now, if Reserve Bank of India pushes the banks to lend more, to give more loans, and Reserve Bank of India and Government of India instructs SIDBI and other banks, development banks, to give guarantee of the loans given to small entrepreneurs, what will happen? Loans will be easily available. Remember it, the loans offered by banks are very effective way to start your businesses. If you want to set up a new business, you can get about 25 lakhs of collateral free loans. That's a big support. And in present time of crisis, there's a possibility that the government may increase this limit. The government may ask banks and financial institutions to give more and more loans to startups, to entrepreneurs, so that they can start their own businesses. And this is the best route to support the economic system. If everybody wants to become an entrepreneur in the economy will start flourishing like anything. What is an economy after all? Economy is a sum total of transactions. If you buy something and if you sell something, you contribute to the economy, you contribute to the GDP. Your transactions add to the GDP of the country. Now, Indian economy is predominantly informal economy. How it is? For example, you look at villages. A farmer grows crop. Suppose it's a wheat crop or barley. He will give part of it to his friends, to his relatives, to his neighbors. And this crop will not come to mandi. And if it doesn't come to mandi, if it is not accounted for, then this is part of informal economy. The farmer is giving that crop to his relatives, to his friend. I am not saying it is good or bad. It is a healthy practice. There is nothing wrong in it. But it is not counted in GDP. And that's why the real GDP of India is much more than what you read in newspapers. The newspapers may say that Indian GDP is something like $3 trillion economy or something like that. This is monetary figure. This is formal economy. The real economy may be some $6 trillion, because almost half of Indian economy is informal economy. I am not asking you to enter into informal economy. I am saying you this to just tell you that you should believe that Indian economy is also a very strong economy, fundamentally. The informal economy has many advantages as well as disadvantages. The disadvantage is that informal economy is out of the GST network of the Government of India. It is not paying GST or other taxes to the Government of India. The advantages of the informal economy are that it is least affected by corona crisis or other such crisis. And another advantage is it gives big support to the poorest of the poor. Now, in such a huge crisis, the corona crisis, the entire world is reeling. The people all over the world are facing tremendous problems. And people might be doubting what is happening in India because, as per the government data, 1/3 of India is below poverty line. But at the same time, remember, India's informal economy is very strong, and that gives support to the people who are very, very poor. And that helps these poor to survive in these difficult times. Of course, government also supports. I will request you at this point of time that if you have any known worker, laborer, you help that person by asking him to open Jan Dhan account in a bank, by asking him to register on the portal of the Government of India and Rajasthan government as worker. If that person will be registered as a worker, that person would be able to get some support because now there is direct benefit cash transfer by Government of India. The poorest people get financial support from Government of India directly in their bank accounts. But for that, it is necessary they should have a Jan Dhan account, they should have a bank account, and they may be hesitant initially, but you can help them so that they can learn. Fortunately, in the last few years, the financial system has also improved because of spread of information technology. The IT revolution has helped tremendously in this aspect, and the power of 4G has also helped indirectly. Coming back to the Reserve Bank of India. The Reserve Bank of India is the central bank. It announces monetary policy every 6 months, once in April, once in October. And in monetary policy, the Reserve Bank of India gives very important information which you should listen, you should read that. What kind of information? Information like what is CRR ratio, what is the cash reserve ratio, CRR, SLR, bank rate, reverse repo rate, repo rate, what are the plans of Reserve Bank of India for next couple of months, things like that. These policy measures of Reserve Bank of India determine the future of the banking system, the future of the financial system, what will be the interest rate and things like that. If interest rates are reduced, it will help the entrepreneurs tremendously because the cost of borrowing will go down. If interest rates go up, that will hamper rise in industries. Similarly, the central bank asks other banks, financial institutions to give loan to micro, small and medium enterprises, to startups, to microfinance institutions. These measures help startups, entrepreneurs, and these help measures help the overall economy tremendously. You see, economic activities depend upon the overall financial flow. In the years to come, the financial flow will increase tremendously because more and more economy is getting digitalized, and therefore the power of money will go up tremendously. In earlier times, we didn't have information technology, we didn't have modern banking systems and things like that. In fact, the currency was also gold dependent, or in earlier times the Reserve Bank used to print only that much currency which it was having in terms of gold as per gold standards. So that's why the currency was very less printed, economy was not growing that fast, the power of credit was very less. If you, in earlier times, if you borrowed something, your power to borrow was less, your money circulation was also very less. Today, the most of the money is financial money, it is not currency. And the reason being, Like in earlier times, the entire money was printed. Today, most of the money is financial. It is not printed money. Suppose you have 10 lakh rupees. Now, out of 10 lakh rupees, you might be having only maybe 1 lakh rupees in cash. 9 lakh rupees you will be having in your bank's account. That is financial market, financial asset. So, financial assets are increasing. And in the years to come, people will completely switch over to financial systems because they will easily be able to undertake their transactions through digital currency, through online means and all these things. That will improve the power of money, that will improve the credit system, and therefore the power of young entrepreneurs will also increase. A lot of entrepreneurs are coming up in financial sectors. They are helping governments indirectly. They are helping the government in taking right measures, right? What is the role of entrepreneur, especially social entrepreneur? The role of the social entrepreneur is to help the government, to do something which the government wants to do, to help the government in doing something and earn. Earning is necessary. Social entrepreneurship cannot work without earning. You earn to survive, but earning is not your most important objective. Your most important objective is development of the nation, development of the society, solving the problems of the society, helping the government in solving the problems of the society. So you have to help the government. Look at the government's priorities. The government wants greater and greater digitalization. Government wants that everybody should adopt new financial instruments, new financial technologies. Everybody should use more and more financial transactions. This is the government's desire. But government cannot achieve on its own. And the government's way of working is bureaucratic. So if the government will ask public sector banks to spread digitalization of currencies, they will fail miserably because it's not something that the government can do, because the mindset is that of officers, while entrepreneurs don't go with that mindset. Entrepreneurs go with the mindset to serve, to innovate, to do something creative, to find ways to help people. So what is the result? We find results like companies like Paytm. Now Paytm you can call social entrepreneur because Paytm has done what the government wanted to do. Paytm has helped the government of India in digitalization of the economy tremendously, right? And they have earned money and they have helped the economy tremendously. Today everybody, you go to any person, even if a person is illiterate, he will have a Paytm account. You go to Jaipur railway station, you will find a coolie having Paytm account, right? You go to a Pani Puri wala, right? Now due to COVID crisis, there is no railway station, and all these shops are closed. But after the crisis, when you go to Jaipur railway station, just notice the Pani Puri wala. He will have a banner that yes, Paytm is accepted here. This is the power of social entrepreneurship. People who have made digitalization across the country. Paytm people. What government could not have done, Paytm has done. And look at it. Everybody is having Paytm account. Amazing thing. And there is no cost involved. You open an account in State Bank of India, there's so much of costs. You keep on reading about it, right? They charge so much of things. You open an account in Paytm, you don't have to pay. There are no costs, only benefits. Sometimes there is cashback, sometimes there is some other benefit. They also send you intimation that if you do some transaction, you get some return as cashback, maybe 2%, maybe 4%, doesn't matter. So, working with the banking system, traditional banking system, is a costly affair. Working with modern institutions, I would call them modern financial institutions like Paytm, etc., is not costly. It is profitable venture. So Paytm is earning and giving benefit to the public also, the society at large also. What a great social entrepreneurship. This is social entrepreneurship. And they are making the entire country digitally literate. Today, you go to any village, you ask people, what is this online transaction, what is digital payment, can you make payment online? Now, even a person who has not gone to any school, he will tell you, because Paytm has penetrated across the country. And this is the power of social entrepreneurship that we want you to exercise. As social entrepreneur, you can implement the plans of the governments in a better way, in an innovative way. Governments has good intention, there is no doubt about it. Government wants poverty should end, right? Human suffering should end. Everybody should lead a good life. Everybody should progress. We should have good cities, good urban environment, good villages. We should have good law and order situation. We should have good institutions. We should have good system of administration, right? Government wants we should respect environment. We should follow environment. We should do all these things. Now my question is, intentions are very good, but what is the grassroots implementation work? The bureaucracy has not helped the government. The bureaucracy works in a very slow manner. They only consider loops, single loop learning. They work in a particular manner. So what happens? The result is, in most of the sectors, we are still poor. At the time of independence, only 10 crore people were below poverty line. And today, more than 30 crore, more than 35 crore people are living below poverty line. The poverty is not reducing, it is increasing. Housing, at the time of independence, we had only a few lakh people living in slums. And today, crores of people are living in slums. Only if you go to Mumbai, Dharavi, you will find about 15 lakh people living in slums. Dharavi is news now because of the COVID-19 crisis. There are so many problems there. Now, what has the government done? Government has allocated a lot of money for solving these problems. What is the outcome? The problem has not been solved. I want you to emerge as social entrepreneur, and I tell you, if every one of you takes up one small, minute problem to be solved, we will have a great country, right? Because you will be able to solve these problems in minutes. What government could not do, you can do, right? Look at the problems that the government wanted to address and government could not achieve. Almost everywhere. Look at democracy. India is world's largest democracy. And what are the essentials of democracy? The essentials of democracy is everybody should have equal right, equal power of expression. Everybody should have openness. Everybody should have free will. Everybody should have a right to exercise voting power. Things like that. But what is the result? The result is misuse of powers. Every day you find people protesting, every day people blocking. It is now Corona, and because of that, the Shaheen Bagh issue has stopped. Otherwise, for last 2 months or more than that, you had seen people in Shaheen Bagh protesting and shouting, blocking. They are all misusing democracy. But look at social entrepreneurs. Tremendous and large number of social entrepreneurs have come. They have started online platforms whereby people raise their voice. They raise their voice to the government. There is a website you can search on Google which allows you to file a petition. You can request thousands of people, crores of people across the country to sign that petition, to submit a demand to the government. This is power of expression. You are not in roads like Shaheen Bagh. You are not blocking roads, but you are helping people speak out. You are giving the voice of the people to the government. This is democracy. So, democracy will be fruitful if people are intelligent, cautious. They are keeping the nation's progress in mind, right? They are not distracting. Today, what is happening? In the name of democracy, every day we find people come to the streets, start burning trains, start burning buses. This is the worst form of democracy that we are witnessing. What is the solution? Social entrepreneurs have to come forward, solving these problems. So, entrepreneurs can solve these problems while earning. I am emphasizing earning because if you will earn, you will become a sustainable business entrepreneur. your business will sustain. You cannot do charity every day. And we want your enterprise to remain alive for next 100 years, 200 years. That will be possible if the enterprise is earning money. So, earn money and reinvest that money. That is also called social entrepreneurship, because under Section 8 of the Companies Act, you can start a social entrepreneurship into like education, schools, charitable trusts, societies. But there the condition is your earnings should go back in the same society. You should not draw back the earning for your personal benefit, right? So that is pure form of social entrepreneurship. Section 8 companies, that is what we call it. So social entrepreneurship can help you. They can help in solving the economic problems tremendously. They can help. Almost every economic problem can be solved by social entrepreneurs. They can come forward and they can help the government, and they can minimize the impact of the problems, right? They can help in social, economical. We must remember, every problem has social, political, economical, these combined impacts. If you solve a problem only economically, the problem is not solved. You have to look at social, political, economical, all the aspects together, and then you can solve the problem, right? And charity can help only 1 or 2 days. And moreover, the negative impact of charity is that people lose their entrepreneurial capability. If you keep on donating money every day to people, what will happen? They will stop earning. They will stop working, right? If, for example, we have a universal basic income, there is a demand by some section that the government of India should introduce universal basic income. Everybody should get, let's say, 6,000 rupees per month, or everybody should get some 7,000 rupees per month without doing anything. What will happen? They will stop doing something. 7,000 rupees they will start getting from the government for doing nothing. They will sit idle and undertake the Shine Bag kind of things. They will undertake protests. They will start shouting. They will start burning buses, burning trains. This is not what we want. We want a progressive country. And a progressive country is possible if everybody is contributing to the development of the country. So how will that be possible? That will be possible if people are rewarded for their creativity, for their innovativeness, for their productivity, not for their idleness. So we have to encourage that. And there the policy measures of the government, the policy measures of the financial institutions, Reserve Bank, that will help. We are fortunate that we have a very strong financial institution in our country. Reserve Bank is a very strong institution in itself. Government of India, Reserve Bank of India, we have very strong measures. There is a system what we call as WMA, Ways and Means Advances. Government will also have to borrow from Reserve Bank, and this borrowing is based on certain programs, right, which we call as WMA, Ways and Means Advances. Reserve Bank gives loans to Government of India. Now, due to COVID crisis, Reserve Bank of India has relaxed WMA norms. Now, all central government, state governments, all the governments can borrow from Reserve Bank tremendously as per their requirement. If they are having any need of finance, they want to borrow, they can immediately borrow from Reserve Bank of India. This is as per the new mandate. So Reserve Bank of India has allocated huge money for WMA, Ways and Means Advances. And Reserve Bank of India has also reduced rate of interest so that more and more fund is available at banks, financial institutions, so they can also pump in the money. They can also give support, financial support to entrepreneurs and others. These are measures that the Reserve Bank of India is doing. The government is taking steps, the Reserve Bank of India is taking steps. All these will help. And economic system works across the globe in a tandem. If something happens in US, it will affect our country also. And that is what you can see right now also across the globe, right? If American stock markets have crashed by some 30%, the same has happened in India also. The same has happened in other countries also, right? So entire world is connected, right? And this connectivity of the world is globalization, and this has advantages and disadvantages. If something goes wrong anywhere in the world, we are also affected. But at the same time, you should remember the world is worst affected because of the COVID crisis, but India is not that much affected because, as I repeat earlier, as I told you earlier also, that 50% of our economy is 50% of our population is based in villages. And 50% of our districts have not been affected by COVID-19. Out of 720 districts in our country, 320 have not been affected at all, and 45 have completely removed the COVID-19. So these are the areas where economic activities has been permitted. You can start economic activities, you can undertake your, you can run your business enterprises in these areas. Villages, we have large number of villages. So villages are have not been much affected. You can run your economic activities there. You can undertake economic activities there. So these are some things that we should be proud of. In the years to come, rural economy will play a very important role. Government of India will also give priority to rural entrepreneurs, development of rural economy, and therefore it is very important for all of us to understand the power of rural economy. So the entrepreneurs should come forward, take the advantage of the incentives that are available in villages, because government gives more subsidies in villages, more subsidies in tribal areas. If you happen to be from a tribal belt, you can set up a business enterprise there with much less investment. If you happen to be from northeast region, you can start your business enterprise with much less investment because of the various incentives. You can read about these incentives in the various government documents. You can search on the website and find out what are the various schemes, various support schemes that are offered by the Government of India, which can help you in starting your entrepreneur in your business at a very less investment. That is the ultimate goal, right? Entrepreneurship involves risks, but you should not be afraid. You should calculate the risk. You should have in your mind a clear limit that yes, I can bear this much of risk, I can bear this much of loss. You should go with that calculation in mind, be prepared for loss, right? And go with a very high positivism. You should be positive. Your positiveness will help you in converting your business into positive. Your business will become profitable if you have positive ideas, positive mindset. About the current status of Indian economy, keep a positive spirit in your mind. You'll find plenty of people saying that we are now going into recession and things like that. Dispel all these disbeliefs. Remember, our economy will grow. It may grow at 2%, no problem. It may grow at 3%, no problem. But it will grow. It will continue to grow. And once things stabilize, the growth will be faster, right? Once everything stabilizes, our economy will grow faster. And in the future, the demand will be far more. If demand is more, supply is less, remember, who will have scope? An entrepreneur will have scope. And if entrepreneur can come up innovatively to meet the rising demand, this is entrepreneurship. If you can meet the demand will be huge across the globe. If you are innovative, you will be able to take advantage of this, right? You have many plus points. You have very good information technology in India. You have very high 4G network in our country. Take advantage of these. There are plenty of websites, or you can create your own websites, right? Sell the idea, sell innovative technologies, sell innovative products across the globe. You can help many people. Your ideas can help the entire society, right? You will also benefit, the society will benefit. This is entrepreneurship. You get benefit, you help the society to grow, and you set up a collaboration based venture, because entrepreneurships, after all, there are two important things: innovation, collaboration. They use these innovative mindset, collaborative mindset, and you can help in creating successful solution for the world's biggest problem. I'll give you one example. Blind People Association. Everybody was thinking in our country that blind people need only donations, charity. But there was one person, Jagdish Bhai Patel. He said, no, we don't want charity. We want blind people to become entrepreneurs. We want blind people to earn. We want blind people to become competent and capable people. So he started training organization for blind people called Blind People's Association. You can search on Google and find more detail about it. And what is the result? Thousands and thousands of blind people converted into successful entrepreneurs or employees. They started earning. They were not beggars. they converted into self-sustaining people. This is great contribution of Jagdish Bhai Patel. This is social entrepreneurship. He saw a problem as an opportunity. That's what social entrepreneur does, right? India has a lot of big problems. One of the biggest problem was lack of cleanliness. Every station you find, there was so much of that. You didn't have toilets. Government could not solve the problem. Government cannot solve this problem. Government cannot solve most of the problems. So you come forward. So look at Bindeshwar Pathak. What he did? Bindeshwar Pathak established toilets in every railway station in our country. Sulabh Shauchalaya. What a great entrepreneur he is. This is social entrepreneurship. A big problem, a very big problem, an innovative solution, and the result is the problem is gone. Now, you go to any railway station, you don't have to worry. You will find Sulabh Shauchalaya there. You may not find clean toilets in government buildings, but you will find clean toilets in Sulabh Shauchalaya. This is social entrepreneurship. A problem and a solution. This is what we want. Every problem brings opportunity for a social entrepreneur. You use your innovativeness, use latest technology, use common sense, involve people, and solve the problem. This is what we want. Best wishes.